Hello, everybody. Molly here. It's time. It's time to start this course. It looks like we have almost everyone here for day one, which is really exciting. We have a few spots left in the course, but we're almost at capacity. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you guys so much for joining. Uh, I have slides obviously for today. Today is module one of Train My Traffic Person. But I also want to be open for questions, especially since this is the first time that we've all been on together. I want to get to know you guys. I have a few other methods for getting to know you too that I'm going to talk about. But feel free to ask questions. I will hop over to the questions box every so often and see what you guys are up to. And then I'll definitely take some questions at the end, even if we need to add a little bit of extra time. I just want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. So I'm really, really excited. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I have someone saying they can't hear me, but then a few other people saying, hi, Molly. So let me know. Okay, good. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Cool. All right, guys, so I am going to show my screen and get right into it. We have actually a lot to cover today, which is really exciting. So welcome to Train My Traffic Person, sending you guys all virtual hugs. It's really the only downside to, I think, the lives that we all live as media buyers on the computer is that sometimes you don't get to meet people in person. It's what I love about in-person events. There's just some things that you have to understand about a person that you can only learn in person. So maybe one day we will all meet up, but for now, sending you guys virtual hugs. I think you guys probably saw this on the webinar. This is me with a koala named Peanut. So I'm sending you guys hugs too. And Sue, I know Sue from Sydney's on here. Hey, Sue, this is especially Aussie themed for you. So sending you guys hugs. I'm so excited that you guys decided to be a part of this. It's been a really exciting week after we did the webinar last week, just seeing you guys sign up and commit to becoming better media buyers. I've just been on fire this past week and really excited to teach you guys. Like I said on the webinar last week, this is absolutely my passion, teaching this stuff. I actually love teaching it more than doing it, but I know I need to do it in order to teach it. So welcome. You guys are the first class of this program. And, you know, like I've said, this is really different from any other course I've ever done because it's an actual mentorship program is the way that we're looking at it. And I'm really invested in seeing all 50 of you guys grow over the next 12 weeks. So in a bit, we're going to cover some content that I've been wanting to share for a long time, but I didn't know exactly how to say it, and I figured it out over the past week making these slides. And I think it's something every media buyer needs to learn. I'm going to teach you an 8-step process for thinking like a media buyer. So we've got some foundational content coming. We've also got this 8-step process that I think is so much more important than anything tactical that you could ever do when it comes to Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube. It actually comes to your mindset and the thought process that you should be using as a media buyer. But before we get into the fun stuff for this week, we have some first day of school info that we need to cover because I want to be very specific at how the next 12 weeks go so that you guys can get the most out of it. So I have some details for you guys. This will also be coming in an email. But I would also love for you to write this information down if you feel like it will help you remember it. So here's your first day of school info in terms of making the most out of the next 12 weeks together. So first and foremost, if you haven't already, today you're going to receive an email from Ezra with your login. So Ezra's team really went all out on this members area, trainmytrafficperson.com/members. This is where we're going to be adding all of the recordings of these calls. There's also a link to the Facebook group, which I'll talk about. But anything that you want to access is inside of the members area, especially when you want to go back and reference this stuff. So if you haven't gotten an email yet, you will get one today. If you haven't received one, by midnight tonight, I would just shoot over an email to Smart Marketers Support, or definitely check your spam folder. That happens sometimes. So I just want to make sure you guys know where to log in. I've also created an onboarding questionnaire that I want you guys all to take. So it's at bit.ly, so bit.ly/TMTP onboarding, train my traffic person onboarding. And basically what I did is I created a type form. I think there are 8 to 10 questions. Some of them are multiple choice, some are longer answers. But this is a way for me to get to know you guys, but also in a private setting. So I'm going to ask your email address. I'm going to ask, basically, who are you? Are you the business owner trying to figure out traffic? Are you a media buyer working for someone else? Do you own your own agency? So that I can really understand the frame of mind and what you're trying to get out of this program. I'm also going to ask a little bit about your experience in terms of paid traffic. Don't be turned off if you don't feel inadequate by your answers. Everyone here is at different stages. And then I just really am trying to figure out what you're wanting to get out of the course, and any other information about the business that you're focusing on. So we'll talk about this a bit later in this call, but during these 12 weeks, if possible, I would love for you guys to focus on one business to implement this course essentially. So whether you're an agency and you pick one of your clients, or you pick yourself, or you have a business, or wherever you are, if you can pick something that you're focusing on, and you can give me some information about that business here in this type form, that would be really helpful, just so I have context when I'm answering your all's questions and interacting with you in the Facebook group. So I probably over-explained this, but I'm really excited. I've never done something like this before, and please fill that out in the next few days, just so I have as much information as possible so that I can help you guys. So log into the members area. We've got this type form here that's really going to help me. It will also help me cater future content. So if there's anything you're wanting to learn or anything that you want to get across to me, please don't write paragraphs of information, because that will be hard for me to consume. But feel free to let me know here in this type form. So next is the class schedule, guys. So we went over these on the webinar. You guys will also get an email about this, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but I want you to put these on your calendar. So also, guys, these things I'm telling you to do right now, I'm going to wrap all of these up in a slide at the end so that you know exactly what to do when we get off this call. So don't worry about going and doing this stuff right now. Please just pay attention if you can. And write down anything you want to remember, and I'll remind you at the end. But the class schedule, please put all of these dates on your calendar. Obviously, you don't have to attend every call to make this training work, right? I know that everyone has different schedules, and I don't expect you to make all of the calls. It's great if you can, but that's why we are recording them. If you can make the calls live, I've just found that you get more out of it. There's better energy, you're paying closer attention, and I'm here live to actually interact with you guys. So please try to show up if you can, but of course the recordings will always go in the members area. So the first type of call that we have in this training are the actual training modules. So these training calls, they're every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. If we find that this time is an issue, maybe in the future we'll talk about changing it, but right now this seems like a good time. Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. I'll really try to keep these between 60 to 90 minutes for you guys. That's the goal. I don't want to start sounding like the teacher from Charlie Brown after a few hours. So these calls are really for teaching, right? So the goal of these calls on Wednesday is for us to get together and for us to learn, right? That's really the goal of these Wednesday calls. So right now we're doing housekeeping for week 1, how to think like a media buyer. I'm really setting the stage for the next 12 weeks during this session today. Next week, we'll actually have Ezra on, and we're going to talk a lot about funnels and offers. Just like what I'm going to talk to you guys about here in a minute, how to think like a media buyer. There's also some topics that are really important to cover and to get sorted and to get our feedback on before we really go into the tactical traffic stuff. And that is figuring out your funnels, figuring out your offers, and making sure everything is set up appropriately, right? Traffic is really one of the last things that happens in a business. So I want to make sure that you guys at least have some structure built, that you have a home built before we start inviting people over for a party, right? So next week will be all about your funnels and your offers, and Ezra will be on for that too. So more info on that at the end of this call. The next week, we'll talk about how to create content for paid ads. So after we figured out exactly what your offers and funnels are, we're then going to move to, okay, what type of content would this person be interested in? How does that relate to the ads that I want to run? And really, who is this person, right? Who is my market? So that will be week 3. Week 4 is all about targeting. So that's pretty self-explanatory, making sure that we not only know who your avatars are, but that you're actually choosing the correct interests and lookalikes, and setting everything up inside of the traffic platform to make sure you're reaching those avatars. Week 5, we'll move to your creatives, so your videos, your images. We'll also talk about copy and campaign structure. So once you understand what you're selling, how you're selling it, and whom you're selling it to with what message, we're then going to move into, okay, how do we visually represent this through creative, copy, and campaign structure. Week 6 is all about launching. So this is about getting a campaign out there or getting multiple campaigns out there, really specific to that brand that you're going to focus on during these 12 weeks, if possible. Week 7 is all about data. I'll have John Grimshaw on here, and we'll make sure that you guys not only know how to track your ad performance from a technical standpoint, but also the numbers you should really be looking at specific to your business and specific to your funnels. Week 8, all about scale and optimization. Week 9, we're moving into DPAs. We'll have Ezra back. Week 10 will be all about bots. So we're going to build a bot that's specific to the traffic system that you've been building the past 10 weeks. That will be a really, really fun one. Week 11, we're going to cover YouTube, how to really pick up any low-hanging fruit that you might have from other traffic sources with YouTube. We're also going to talk about how to run some cold traffic with YouTube. YouTube's a great platform with still relatively low cost, so I definitely want to be able to touch on that. And then week 12, same thing with Google Ads. We do have a bonus week 13 for you guys too, and we'll decide that topic later in time depending on what you guys need. So I just wanted to quickly run through these again so that we're all on the same page. We understand the structure that these Wednesday calls are going to be about training. So at the end of the Wednesday calls, guys, I'm going to give you homework. So this isn't going to be homework like read a textbook and fill in the blank. This is me instructing you guys to actually go out there and implement, right? I want to make sure that you're not just learning, but that you're also doing. So every Wednesday, we will give you some homework at the end of that call. It shouldn't take, it shouldn't take more than, it's really hard to say. It's going to depend on the topic, but it could take anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple of hours, right? And we'll talk about that. And if you guys need to maybe wait a week to implement a certain topic, it's totally fine. We are still here and available for questions, even if it's not necessarily the topic of the week. So if you guys are going on vacation or you're going to miss a week, no worries. We'll make sure that you get caught up. So another aspect of this program, guys, are the feedback calls. So these are every Monday at 4 p.m. And I liked calling them feedback calls because I think that's more of what they are than just Q&A calls, right? So the thought process behind these feedback calls is that we teach something on Wednesday, you have homework around that topic, and then you bring your homework to the calls for review. So for example, after we talk about targeting, you guys can come to the call on Monday. I'll let you share your screen. You can show us what you've decided in terms of your targeting, or you could just ask questions, right? So Wednesdays are more for teaching so that you guys can implement. Mondays are more for me just rapid fire answering questions and giving you guys as much feedback as possible. So a typical week will be training call on Wednesday, homework assigned on Wednesday, student can have homework assessed on Monday, feedback call, but you guys can also have your homework or any other questions that you have. You can ask about those in the Facebook group too, right? So if you aren't able to finish it on Monday or you can't make that call or you're for some reason behind a few weeks, no worries. We also have the Facebook group, which I'm excited to connect with you guys in. Like I said earlier, anytime that you show up live or even if you're watching a recording, I really recommend having a notepad and pen next to you, even though we're virtual people, right? It's so nice to write things down. It also keeps you from having to type or get distracted with stuff on your computer. So the more that you can just block this time out, commit to these 12 weeks, and really focus during the calls, the better results you're going to have. And I've always found that if I write things down instead of typing, I'm able to pay better attention. So just a little tip for you guys there. So like I said earlier, guys, I'm super pumped. The most important thing about this is that you consume the information, you take action, and you use these 12 weeks to sharpen or learn a new skill, right? Wherever you are on this journey with digital media buying, this is your 12 weeks to say, I'm going to be better, right? There is going to be a huge transformation in me as a media buyer over these 12 weeks because I'm committing to consuming the information and taking the action. So this is Molly being your personal coach. And really just the important thing is not to buy the course, it's to actually go through it and to engage with me and to engage with the group. So I really ask for your commitment there. Also, guys, like we said, there's a community. So once you get a login to the members area, just click the tab in the members area that says community or it says Facebook group. I can't remember what it says, but there's a unique link for you to click there to join. So it's a secret group, so you won't be able to search it on Facebook. You need to go in the members area and search, and then we'll get you in as soon as possible. Again, please do this after the call so you can pay attention right now. But you know, this community is going to be small, guys. There's only 50 of us plus, you know, a few extra people with Ezra's staff, and you know, some other people aiding us. So this is a really small community. Hop in there if you feel comfortable. You know, explain who you are, why you're here, what you do. I really want us to get to know each other and to be able to help each other. This is my favorite part of doing this. So please join the community. And a few ways to use the community. Feel free to tag me at any times with with questions or to review something you're doing. You know, it might take me 24 hours or so to get back to you, but I have put checking this Facebook group as a part of my day-to-day workflow process. So please feel free to tag me if you need something. Post in the group if you get stuck. But if you've already spent time Googling, right? I've learned most of this just from scouring the internet. So if you're having trouble installing a Pixel or you're getting stuck on something, try to do the research first, because you will learn better, right? If you take those few extra steps. But if you still can't figure it out, no worries. There really are no dumb questions. Feel free to post in the group. Feel free to post videos or screenshots of your campaigns or anything you're doing. Excuse me, guys, I need to take a sip of water. And that's even, you know, in the next few days, if you guys are already running ads that you want me or everyone in the group to look at, the best way to do that is to shoot a quick video, explain the goal, explain what you're trying to do, and, you know, show us the results, and we can give you feedback. Screenshots work great too. Also, post any successes and failures that you have. We're all going through the same thing. So whether you're having successes or failures, you're still learning and you're still doing shit. And that's great. And we want to celebrate you. And that's how we're going to learn. So please post in the group. Also, just respect one another. I'm not going to create community guidelines yet or anything like that. But first of all, since this is such a small group, I want people to feel safe that they can share information about their business that isn't going to be plastered on the internet somewhere, right? So please be mindful that when people are sharing videos or asking questions on these calls, they're probably sharing information about the business they work for, or the business they own, or a client's business. So just be aware of that, and let's just be here to help each other. Don't be here to just extract information from other people. I just want to make this a wonderful place to be, and it's cool to have a new home and a new community to be a part of. So I know I've been talking a lot about just really school stuff, guys, and I'm sorry, but I want to make sure you understand the flow of this and we're all on the same page. So every week for 13 weeks, you're building something new or optimizing an existing campaign. So an effort to make this really over the shoulder, this entire course, I'm actually going to do what I'm calling traffic makeovers. And before we hop into this, guys, I'm just going to quickly see if there are any questions. Ooh, lots of you guys still on here. Awesome. I'd expect homework. Don't worry too much. Will we be using the exact same GoToWebinar info? Catherine, I'm not totally sure about that, but expect emails from the Smart Marketer team for that. Lots of people saying hello. We've got people from Denmark, Utah. Meryl, I'm so excited to teach you. I'm glad you're here. All right, guys. Looks like we have no questions. Someone said Molly will have no choice but to accept my friend request now. I'm sorry, Jason. I've given up managing friend requests, so I will go and find you after this. But okay, awesome, guys. Glad you guys are pumped to be here. I hope I'm not boring you too much. Okay, awesome. So let's keep rocking and rolling here. So I'm really pumped about this because I've never done this in a course before. I can't remember who asked this question, but someone asked the question on the webinar, how over the shoulder is this going to be? Like, am I actually going to get to build Facebook campaigns with Molly? And you know, my courses have always gone into Ads Manager and shown people how to build things, but I realized that people truly want an over-the-shoulder experience to follow step by step. So tell me if this makes you guys excited. Of course, through the course, I'm going to be, you know, auditing your all's campaigns, talking about your all's businesses on these calls. I also have a ton of examples from different types of businesses that I've worked on in the past that I can use. But I wanted to do something like these traffic makeovers so that we can literally have the same experience together for the next 12 days. So what I did is I picked two brands that I have not worked on at all. These are not people I run ads for. Both of these brands have run some ads in the past, but in different ways. And basically, they need some help, and they're allowing me to use their accounts and to show you guys exactly what I'm going to do along this 12-week process, but in their ad account. So the first brand is called Code and Quill. These are some of my friends. They sell notebooks. They're an e-commerce company. They've done pretty well. They've got a great product, but they've always had trouble getting Facebook ads to work. So I'm going to be using them as an example every single week. When we talk about funnels, when we talk about targeting, every week you guys are going to get to see the new data in the account. So I'm basically going to be managing these ad accounts right in front of your all's eyes. That sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm excited about it. And then the other brand is Be Friendly, which of course is one of Ezra's brands, which mostly sells on Amazon. We're really going to see what we can do with Be Friendly. And of course, Ezra will be helping along with that too. So I hope you guys are pumped about this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you want me to do less of the teaching over the shoulder, more of slide teaching, that's all feedback. I'm always open to hearing from you guys. But I want you to see this journey. I want to go along this journey with you guys. And these are the two brands that we're going to be working with. So I'm really, really excited and love the teaching over the shoulder method. Big fan, super excited. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad you guys are pumped. And of course, at any time, you guys can post your over the shoulder stuff in the group and we can give feedback. So never forget that. All right, guys, so next step here, you can tell I'm excited about this. I'm over-explaining a little bit. Think of this as a flight simulator almost, where you get to watch someone drive the plane, which I always think is fun. So again, I want you guys to start thinking about what will you focus on? Trenton here, he owns his own business, so I know what he's gonna be focusing on, but I wanna know in the type form, what business are you guys going to focus on, right? For example, I know some of you all have agencies and you're managing 10 accounts. Everything you learn through here, you can apply to all of your accounts, but I would love for you to pick one that you can really be thorough about this process with so that you can see that huge transformation over time. So start thinking about what will you focus on? And really our goal is for you guys to pick a business and build or optimize and or scale a complete traffic system, for that company. That is really our goal. We're not just going to launch one campaign on Facebook and get it to work. I want you guys to have a traffic system that is absolutely covering your entire customer journey, from running ads to people who have never heard of you before to getting people to come back and repeat purchase. That is the goal here. And then of course, for you guys to be able to duplicate that for other businesses or for new offers that your business is going to roll out, and then to scale from there. So this is really the goal. So how do we succeed, guys? Commitment, implementation, and communication. And again, I don't mean to sound too personal development but I feel like I feel responsible for your all's experience over the next 3 months. And I know that what I'm going to teach you works. And I know that even if you try something and it doesn't work, or if you don't understand something, I'm gonna be here to help you. All I ask for you is that you just commit to this, which means at least going through the material, that you implement, and then you communicate, right? If you're not having a good time, if things aren't working for you, post in the Facebook group, get on a call. Definitely, remain respectful, which I'm sure all of you guys will, but this is a feedback loop. This is a community. So commitment, implementation, communication. If you guys can commit to those 3 things, I know this is going to be a wild ride. So this is really like learning a new hobby or a language. So in 12 weeks, you could be well on your way to understanding a new language, right? You could have said, Molly, I'm going to take these 2 weeks to start learning Spanish, but you guys decided to use these 12 weeks to learn how to be a better media buyer. So please try to limit any other distractions in your life in terms of learning. I know Ezra always asks people, hey, please try to only go through one course at a time. Of course, you're going to keep up your other learning. I know you guys are listening to podcasts and doing other things, but just give this the amount of time that you would give learning a new hobby or language. So, all right, guys, onboarding completed. The boring stuff is done, but I like knowing the details of something before I get into it, and I hope that was helpful for you guys. So I'm going to hop back in the questions really quick, make sure there's nothing outstanding, and then we'll get into some actual content for you guys. Someone said, I want to learn the media buying skill. I'm thinking for this training, I can choose an affiliate program to promote. Yes, that's totally fine. Just pick a product or service. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Pick something you actually like that you feel deserves to go out to a market. So absolutely no problem. Looks like we've got people selling physical products. Will we get help in choosing what product to focus on? I have a low volume B2B software versus a higher volume B2C product. Yes, John, for sure. If you're having trouble figuring out which business to focus on through this course, just explain the situation, ask in the Facebook group. I'm happy to help. You could probably do both at the same time. But we will definitely, especially next week, help you guys decide which products you should be running traffic to and when, right? So that's really what I mean when I say deciding on your offers, figuring out for which business, which offers you're gonna run traffic to, which products and when. So yes, John, always happy to help. Cool, awesome. Someone has a fashion jewelry brand. That's great. Okay, awesome, guys. Thank you for your feedback here. And I'm excited to get into some more content with you guys. All right, so before we start talking traffic, and when I get into this, if you've been buying media for a long time and even longer or more than I have, don't discount this. What I'm going to teach you over the next 30 minutes or so. I really believe it's powerful for anyone buying traffic. It's a way of thinking. But before we start talking about that, I'm just curious from you guys, a digital media buyer or a media buyer, what does that even mean to you? Like, what do you guys think that entails? Like, if a few of you could just put that in the comments, I'm just really curious. I did some Google searches, and I have thoughts about this. But what do you guys think digital media buyers do? Well, what do you guys think that people who click around and buy Facebook ads, what are we actually doing? Buying digital media, selling stuff. You guys are funny. Yeah, you're totally right. Getting a business out to people who don't know about it so you can get them interested in your brand or service. Sue, yes, that's really close to what I'm about to say. I think it's so much more broad than Facebook. Yes, Ron, so much more. This buying media is so much more than Facebook, YouTube, Google, any traffic platform. I couldn't agree more. Buying ads, divert traffic that already exists. Interesting. Driving business, supporting Facebook. We got to play nice with Facebook, and I guess we are financially supporting them. Scaling your business. Heck yes, Angela. Buying placement on social media campaigns, creating traffic, finding placements, figuring out the right messaging. Yes. Promoting a business, event, brand, or service. Creating a sales process. Yes, what's the job description on this? I tried searching in LinkedIn, but not much. I know, John, there's like no information about this, which is interesting. Okay, I love you guys already. Paying for attention, Nathan, you're so right. You buy traffic from various media sources for your clients' needs. I think paid media targeted to the appropriate persona and their entire buyer journey. Turning the traffic on and on, Trent, you're totally right. All right, guys, I love your feedback. We're thinking along the same lines. And it's funny because there isn't a lot of information out on this because this is a really new thing, right? This isn't something people can go to college for, really. You actually have to get in the trenches or find a person like me or people like Ezra to teach you. Digital media buyers, we're a new breed. But I think with anything, and the mistake that I have made in the past when teaching this stuff is that I go right to here's how to click buttons in Facebook, right? But I was thinking, wow, Molly, if you were going to learn how to speak a language like Spanish, you probably need to understand a bit more about it, right? what is it? How does it function? I think that, people who are able to take something apart and put it back together and then understand it, they understand it because they understand the function of it. They really understand what it is. So I think it's super important for us to all really understand, because there's not much information out there. Who the heck are we as media buyers? What do we do? If we can understand that, decision making when doing the tactical stuff is a lot easier. So what do we do? Understanding this is, essential to having success with the discipline. Like I said, this is really funny. I Googled digital media buyer, and this was the first article. Since the onset, and I agree with a lot of this article, this little excerpt, by the way, guys, but there's something I don't agree with. Since the onset of the digital transformation, the role of digital media buyer has been one of the most in-demand jobs in the advertising industry. Although digital media buying in and of itself is nothing new, which it kind of is, since the internet at least, it's a profession that's constantly adapting to new digital channels, tech, platforms. As a key liaison between agencies and advertisers, digital media buyers support in the creation and implementation of ad campaigns for different brands. You know what I don't agree with, and what is not necessarily true about us guys, is that media buyers have always been the liaison between agencies and advertisers, right? It has been very traditional for a brand to hire an agency. And there's nothing wrong with agencies. In a way, I have an agency, but I mean big agencies that a lot of times you hire and they probably don't get the results for the business that a media buyer that's in-house, or a media buyer that's has less clients and is more agile would get for that business, because the agency just doesn't have all of the brand. They don't have the tribal knowledge or the understanding of the brand that the business owner or the specific media buyer on the team, or someone who is even more of a freelancer that has time to dig in would. And I think what I'm trying to say is we have moved past this model of all businesses needing to hire, one of the top 100 agencies in the world because they have placements in magazines, right? We're in a time now where you can literally be a solo media buyer, whether you do have your own agency, you're a freelancer, you're the business owner, you work for someone else. We get to do it all, right? It's not just about planning and supporting ad campaigns. It's about actually getting in there and doing it. And I think that's the difference between digital media buyers and the way that we're talking about it, and what you've traditionally seen is that we're the ones that are actually going to build this stuff, right? We are marketers. We aren't just planning these media buys. So I did think this was good. The most important decisions lie in determining which online media channels and which tactics will yield the greatest reach, based off of your campaign goals, which is definitely true. And we'll talk more about that. But I do think the agency thing is poop. And I think it's cool that we're all coming together and creating a platform to teach people how to be better media buyers, so that we can really change the way that this is working. I believe that a media buyer simply aggregates and purchases attention, right? Which is what a lot of you guys said. Media buyers connect consumers with brands that may be of service or interest to their life. Sue, this is really similar to what you said, but I absolutely think this is what we do, guys. We aggregate and purchase attention. And we connect consumers, real humans, with brands that may be of service or interest to their life. That's really important. We are not thinking of people as robots that we're trying to just sell trinkets to, right? Everyone in this course, I want you to really dig deep into your values, and also think about Um, does this product or service match this market, or am I trying to force it, right? Do these people really want what I'm selling? Is this product good, right? Should it be out in the market? Those are things that you should be asking yourself as a media buyer, because eventually, if you don't, you might have a moral conflict with what you're doing, and it can absolutely affect the way that you perform. So we are here to aggregate and purchase attention and to connect consumers with brands, and not just any brand, but brands that we think may be of service or interest to their life. You guys can tell I'm pumped about that. We do a lot, right? It's so much more than planning or budgeting. I'm going to spend, 5,000 on Facebook, 10,000 on Google. We aren't planners. We're media buyers. We're doers. We're marketers. It's so much more than pressing buttons inside of Facebook. And like I said, if you're willing to practice and commit, you can become a very valuable asset to any business. You probably already are. But as a media buyer, we're lucky because we perform one of the most important functions in a business, which is bringing new life into a business. If you can really sharpen that skill, which once you master these skills I'm going to teach you, they apply to all businesses. Once you master that, and as you make it better, you just become invaluable to any business that you touch or you start or that you work with. And to me, that's pretty damn fun to be able to pull one of the biggest levers that a business has. Media buyers are powerful, and I'm just saying that to empower you guys. We can change the world through influence. I want you guys to realize the bigness of this, because no matter if you're spending $5 or $500,000, you are responsible for a message that another human is going to read on Facebook or Google or YouTube or in a blog post or on some random site. They are going to read this. And I want you to make sure that you realize how powerful that is, right? People are spending insane amounts of time on Facebook and on the internet nowadays. And, if you've heard me talk about the study that Facebook did, the reason that they really lowered the organic reach on a lot of brand pages is because they did psychological studies on consumers that were actually using Facebook, right? Not marketers, that were consuming Facebook, and they found that the level of posts and ads that they were seeing, the consumers that they were seeing from brands, was actually unhealthy for people. And since most of society has Facebook, it means that the amount of brand posts were unhealthy for our society, right? And that's why Facebook made the decision to lower the amount of organic reach, which I support. So not to get too much on a tangent here, and I promise I won't always be this woo-woo, guys, but I just want to make sure you know the power that you possess as you learn these skills. You are literally in charge of the messages that humans are going to see and actions they are going to take. And I never want you to forget that. So something else to think about: once you develop this skill, no one can take it away from you. It's applicable in other businesses. It's applicable whether you work for someone else in the future, you take on clients, you start your own business. This is very much like riding a bike. And of course, we're in the digital age, guys. Human behavior is on our side. Every day that passes, humans are spending more time online. This is one of the most valuable skills you could ever learn in your lifetime. It's always going to change, but once you understand the fundamentals, this just makes you more essential to businesses, because businesses simply need to be where the market is, right? Well, if you know how to get them in front of the market where the market's hanging out, you are then invaluable, no matter whether they're B2C, B2B, or what product they're selling. So what else are we? Just really quick, guys. These are qualities that I see in really strong media buyers and marketers. And it doesn't mean you have to have all of them. It doesn't even mean that you have to aspire to be all of them. I just want you to keep them in mind. We're more than media buyers, we're marketers, right? As a media buyer, this is the quickest way to understand the full picture of a business in terms of digital marketing. By the end of this course, and now you're more than a media buyer. You understand data, you understand funnel architecture. There's so much more than media buying. We are marketers. We're psychologists, right? Our job is to try to understand what a market's thinking, how they feel, and what they need. We are psychologists. So think bigger than your CPA and all of the data and fun buttons to click in Facebook. Think back to, or just think to psychology. You've got to think big. You really have to figure out what a market's thinking about. We're researchers. If you don't know something, try to look it up. If you don't know something about a market, search in forums, read in Facebook groups, read blogs in that market, really immerse yourself in that market so that you can understand the psychology, research, figure things out. That ability to, that want for more information and to know, that's what keeps people going. We are empaths. That's why women tend to make great media buyers, and men too. But if you can take a step back and realize that all we're doing here is we are humans connecting with other humans. We are not day traders buying stock from bots, right? We are humans connecting to other humans. Go to that empathetic place in your heart when you put on your media buyer hat. And if you do that and you actually try to feel what this market is feeling or what they're thinking, you're going to be a lot more successful than writing that clickbait headline, right? If you actually just tune in to some empathy in how they're feeling. We're communicators. That's all we're doing. We're communicating. And we're communicating basically between a brand, the products and services they sell, the offers that they have, and the market that we think those product service, those offers, the market that we think that they can help. Right? That's all we're doing. We're communicating, and we're communicating with each other, and we're communicating with our teams. So that is definitely a skill to really think about and work on as we move through this course. All right, guys, I'm going to take a little sip of water. So if we now know who we are, right, as media buyers, then what is paid traffic? Well, paid traffic really is that road that's connecting basically all of this online media like YouTube, Facebook, and Google. The road is connecting the people that are hanging out on those platforms to the product or service, right? Our job as media buyers really is to drive the car along this road, to decide what type of road we want to drive on, to decide which road we want to take, right? To decide, what the car looks like. How should we present this out to the world, right? It's kind of a silly analogy, but it really helps simplify this because it can be so overwhelming. If you just think about paid traffic as a way to buy entrance to use whichever road going in whatever direction based off of your market to get your product and service in front of the right hands, that really is what paid traffic is. And like I've said, it's not the button clicking that matters. We're not even here to master a certain platform. I mean, we're going to talk about Facebook, Google, YouTube. I'm happy to talk about any traffic platform you guys want. But what I can tell you from experience is that being an expert on the actual platform in terms of the button clicking and the bidding, it's really not what matters most. And the most successful media buyers that I have seen usually aren't master button clickers, right? They're actually psychologists, they're research, they're analysts, and they're megaphones, right? To get these certain messages out to these groups of people. So really start thinking about yourself in that way, right? It's so much more than tactics. We're so many other things, right? All we're trying to do is connect humans, and we're trying to get them to take an action, right? So just don't get caught in the weeds. We will go into the weeds. I will help you through the weeds, but I want you to stay high level in your thinking, and it'll keep your mind open, guys. So how do you think like a media buyer? So I want to teach you guys this process, and I really think this might be one of the most valuable things that you learn during the course. I'm actually going to have my designer, Brittany, turn this into a little poster that you guys, maybe not a poster, but a sheet that you guys can print out that looks really pretty, that you can keep in your notebook or that you can tape next to your computer, so that when you need to put your media buyer hat back on, and when things feel complicated, or when you're in the middle of a campaign and you're feeling stressful or you don't know where to go from here, you can go back to this 8-step process, and it will always help you get to a better place, right? It's going to help you get that media buyer hat back on. It's going to help you figure out, where you were off in your targeting, why you can't scale, and then of course work will be done from there. But I think this is the most valuable thing I can teach you guys before we get really, really tactical. So I'm going to look really quick for any questions. There probably aren't any big ones, but I just want to make sure we haven't lost anybody. Brian's late. No worries, Brian. Thanks for showing up. Old school media buyers were just newspaper and magazine buyers. So true. Sue said they could not 100% focus on it time-wise either. Yeah, absolutely, so true. We're always learning to keep up to date. Absolutely agree with you guys. Everybody still with me? I'm going to take a quick sip of water. We've probably got about 15 or 20 minutes left of content, and then I'll take any questions you guys have. John said, I love the freedom this job offers. Yes, I mean, guys, we're getting to live in a completely different world. My parents came to visit this weekend, and they had to go back to Kentucky to their office jobs, and it just made me realize, well, there's nothing wrong with an office. There's nothing wrong with an office job, but that freedom, right? It really allows you the creativity you need to do this type of work. So I totally agree, John. All right, everybody. I'm going to hop back into the slides here. It looks like you guys are following along. Glad you're liking it. Thanks for the nice feedback. Glad you guys are as pumped as I am. So how do you think like a media buyer? Again, write this down on your notepad, and I will also send you a beautiful version that you can print out in the next few days. So I've met a lot of great button clickers, a lot of great media buyers who are really data focused, really good at optimization and scaling and duplicating and all of the button clicking thing inside of these ad platforms. But I noticed that they were hitting a ceiling with their success. And I have come up against this, and this is how I created this process to get myself back on track. But really, this process starts with addressing really the biggest mistake that really happens with media buyers. And these mistakes happen because of the nature of this job, right? As a media buyer, you are literally spending money, right? That is something, if you look at a digital marketing team, your email marketing person isn't really spending money. They're just sending emails. Copywriters, and not just, I don't mean that in they're doing less, they're not spending money. The copywriter is not spending money, right? The content manager is not spending money. The data person's not spending money. These are all really valuable roles, but what makes the media buyer different is that you are spending money, whether that's your money, whether that's someone else's money, and you have to have a certain capacity for creativity. So the one mistake that I see people making is they weren't thinking like a media buyer, right? And the first step to really fixing this is what I call mind cleanup. And it might sound silly, but it's incredibly important. This first step is, like I said, the mistake that I see people who are really tactically good media buyers, but they can't get over that hump. They just can't launch that successful campaign. Like something is off. Usually what I find when I dig in with them and I train them and I try to help them is that it's something up in their head, right? And I don't mean they're crazy or anything's wrong with them at all. This happens to me all the time. It's that media buying is really similar to golf. It's completely a mental game, right? So if the first step that you take when you're putting on your media buyer hat, and maybe if you're buying media every day, this is the first thing you do every morning, right? I get up and meditate so that I can clear out any of this junk every morning. So step one, let's clear out this junk. And a lot of it is, where I see people failing is number one, fear of failure, right? Um, I was talking to a friend earlier today who's launching a Kickstarter tomorrow, and she's like, Molly, I'm almost so scared to put it out there in case it fails that I almost don't want to do it. There's so many media buyers, especially when getting started, or maybe if you've gone through a lull of not being able to get your CPA down or not being able to get something right, it can really hurt your confidence, right? And if you don't address that fear of failure with yourself, it will keep you from being creative and it will keep you from launching new things. So when you're thinking about cleaning out your mental junk, whether this is just a conversation with yourself or an acknowledgement or just listening to me here, really try to remove that fear of failure as much as possible. And a way that I do that is realizing that there's never really a failed marketing campaign. The only reason a marketing campaign fails in my eyes is if it's really, really half-assed, right? Like if you don't put the time into it, then it might deserve to fail. But even a campaign that doesn't achieve the goal that you want, guess what? You're still getting data and you're still learning, right? Because you launched that campaign, you now know what to do different. So there's really never a failed marketing campaign unless you didn't try. But really address this with yourself, guys. Another is money issues. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I definitely realized that in the past I've had weird relationships with money, and I've tried to cure that because that is my job, is to spend other people's money, right? That can be really scary. I've seen media buyers who have really badass campaigns that don't scale because they're scared to spend more money. And once they address that and they realize that, it's so much easier to move forward. So if that's something that hits home, definitely think about it. And then need for validation, right? Something that's really important when you're deciding to do something like this, or as a media buyer, you need to decide what success looks like to you. And maybe that doesn't necessarily align with the goals your boss set or your client, but you need to know what is success for you. Because if you are looking for validation from other people, whether it's a boss or a team member or a client, you will be unfulfilled because everyone's expectations are different, and it's just the way humans are. So I realized this early in my career. I was like, am I launching these campaigns to try to get the validation and, the approval of someone else, or am I doing this for myself? What does success look like for myself? And when I really cleared that up, there wasn't a need to impress or validate anything. I just wanted to do it because I wanted to be a really good media buyer. So step one is really this mind cleanup, guys. And this is so, so important. Just make sure you're addressing with yourself, am I scared to fail? Do I have any weird issues around money? Do I have a need for validation that I need to work on, right? And I'm not a personal development person. One of my clients is Gabby Bernstein. She's a wonderful spiritual leader, personal development person. So if you do have issues with this type of stuff, guys, go check out her blog. She's got free meditations, awesome books. I'm just going to leave this here. But before you put that media buyer hat on, first step, clear up your mind, or you're going to have trouble really tapping into that in any way. Step two, determine what message, person, product, service you're trying to get out into the world, right? So a lot of times when you think about a business and you think about buying media, most of you go right to that one product you want to sell. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want you to think about, as you're buying media, which means you're buying attention, right? You are buying eyeballs, really. That sounds sick, but you're buying eyeballs, you're buying attention. You're not just getting a product out there, right? If there's a face of the company, you're getting a person out there. If there's a message, you're getting a message out there. Someone that's a student that's in a mastermind that I do has a company called Fused Hawaii. You should check them out, especially ladies looking for bathing suits. And what Rochelle has done that's amazing is her product's great, right? She makes really cool swimsuits from recyclable goods that really help fit surfers and outdoors people so that your bathing suit's not falling off, right? But her product is so much more, or her message is so much more than her product. The message that you see in a lot of her ads is actually about women and how you should feel about your body and how you shouldn't be ashamed of your body and how you should feel comfortable and how that's the belief of Fused Hawaii. And oh, we just sell these swimsuits. Well, she can't spend enough on Facebook ads. She can't keep up with her production. And it's all because that was the message that went out to the market, right? She sat down and she didn't just say, what product am I trying to put out into the market? She said, what message am I trying to get out into the market? Am I going to put a person out there? Yes, she put herself. You'll notice she does a lot of Facebook Lives and things. You don't have to do that. There doesn't have to be a person, but it's an option. And then the product or service is just an extra extension off of that, guys, right? When you realize that it's actually not about us, right, as media buyers, and it's actually not about the product or service, it's about the message or the person, and it's about the change you can make in someone else's life, that's when you become a really, really good marketer. So step one, clear your mind. Step two, sit down and think, okay, in regards to this business, this client, whatever, what message, person, product or service, what am I trying to get out into the world? Really, really simple. Step three, now get into the mindset of the market, right? So you now know what you're trying to get out to the world, right? And notice that step two wasn't, I'm going to use Facebook, Instagram ads, and then I'm going to do like in-stream YouTube. No, 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 don't go there yet. We will go there. First, you have to figure out what it actually is that you're trying to get out there. So many people miss this step that they're never actually putting anything out there but a product or service that they're trying to sell. And that's why it's failing. We're going to talk a lot about this in week 3, but please think about this, guys. Step 3, get into the mindset of the market. Whenever I go into a market, I literally will give myself at least an hour or two to just search around the internet about this market. Like I said earlier, join Facebook groups of the market that you're trying to speak to, read forums, read Amazon reviews of products in the market, engage with these people, go to a live event, talk to them, whatever you can do to get in the mindset of this market. I know that I've done a good job of doing this when almost every Facebook ad I see in my newsfeed is related to that market for a few days, right? Because I've done so much clicking and Googling that now I'm just getting flooded with all of these Facebook ads because I've, given Facebook enough data for them to even know that I'm trying to get into the mindset of the market. So this isn't even necessarily getting into targeting yet, guys. Again, that's more tactical. That's going to come. But this is just getting into the mindset of the market. Who is this person? What are they thinking about? What are they stressing out about? What are they happy about? What do they want? What are their desires? What words do they use, right? What language do they use? What types of stuff are they buying? This isn't necessarily about women age 40 to 50. This is about getting into the head, the mindset of the market. So that's step 3. Step 4, you have to start listing reasons the world will care about this message. So, oops, sorry guys. We've cleared the mind. We've determined what message we're trying to get out there. We know the mindset of the people we're trying to get this message to. Now we essentially need to decide, why does this market want to hear this message, right? And this could be a 5-minute thing, right? But back to Roxelle and her bathing suits, she could be sitting here right now listing out the reasons that this market of women and moms and surfers and people that want to be outdoors and feel good in their body, why do they care about this message that I'm wanting to share? Well, they've had kids and they feel uncomfortable in their body, or they log on to Facebook every day and they see ads of unrealistic body types, or maybe they're struggling with self-confidence. I'm just rattling this off, but these are all reasons that her market would care about her message, right? You've got to take the time to start to list those. Those will become your hooks for your ads that we'll talk about later on. Step 5, now you need to decide, okay, we know what the message is. We know what the reasons are that this market is open to consuming this message. Now, how should we present this, right? And this really comes down to allowing yourself to be creative. Please read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert if you haven't already. That book really changed me as a media buyer in terms of actually learning how to be creative, right? Being creative is such a not tangible thing, right? It's hard to just be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and be creative. That book will help you. But a lot about creativity is giving yourself time to be creative, right? You got to give yourself that time away from the computer to let ideas come to you. But that's really step 5, just asking yourself, how should this message be presented, right? So, okay, we know that we want to get this message out about body issues, and we want to talk to people about how they're feeling about their body being a mom, and how they're feeling about this stereotype that they see everywhere. Now, how should we present that, right? What are visual ways to present that? What are words that we can use to get this message across, right? Step 5 is where you really begin to understand the copy and the creative that goes into anything for your brand, your website, your ads. It doesn't matter, Facebook, Google, YouTube. This is just, how do I visually present myself, right? That's something we really have to overcome with the internet, because people aren't in person with us. Of course, we can use video, but we have to get super creative in how we are visually presenting our messages. So that is step 5. Step 6, do the work, launch the campaigns, right? After you've gone through this process, do something, put something out there, right? That's something that Elizabeth Gilbert teaches in Big Magic. A lot of people get things like writer's block. I call it media buyer's block. That comes usually because you have created a ton of ideas, but you've never actually put anything into action. And the way that we work as humans is that can actually create a block. So even if it's not perfect, put something out there. At Digital Marketer, one of our we believe statements was half-ass is better than no ass, right? And while I don't want you guys to half-ass anything, I don't want you to do nothing at all, right? So actually get something out there. Step 7, analyze the results. How did it go, right? This is actually our biggest learning step. This is the scariest step for people, because for them, it means I did a good job or I did a bad job. Erase that from your mind, guys. It's not about good or bad. We do have goals that we want to hit as media buyers, but like I said, look at every campaign as a gift, because you get all of this data to tell you what to do differently next time, right? That's a lot about what we're going to talk about in this course. Once you've done something, how do you use the data to decide what to do next? So many people skip this step because they just don't want to look, or they don't want to take the time. But this is our biggest learning step. You will learn more from analyzing things you've done than you will from this training or any podcast or any event you could ever go to, because you are learning about something that you actually built, right? So don't miss this. This is our biggest learning step. And then step 8, as media buyers, guys, we are always iterating, always, right? At Digital Marketer, I calculated that only about 20% of the campaigns that I launched succeeded, right? And that means they hit the CPA goal. That's still good to me, right? Because those 80% of campaigns we were able to learn from, but also you don't need every campaign to be a success, right? And the real strength of us as media buyers is our ability to get it out there and then to keep improving and to keep iterating and really not giving up, right? And a lot of that comes through collaboration. So if you feel like you do something and it doesn't work, talk to people, post in the group, get on a call, talk to someone on your team, collaborate, because by step 8, sometimes you can get to a place where you are so close to something that you can't even see what's obvious in front of you, right? So collaboration is so important because other people can point things out, and because other people just might have ideas, right? But always keep the ball moving forward. So important. Iterate, collaborate, and always keep the ball moving forward, and then really repeat the process, guys. So again, I'll send you this in a pretty form that you guys can print out, but please, please use this process, whether it's every day. I'm actually going to give you some homework around this, whether it's every day or once a week. In the future, it's up to you. But when you need to put your media buyer hat on, you need to figure shit out. Do this. First, clean up your mind. Is there anything in my head that's blocking me from being able to do this? Determine what message, person, product, and or service that you're trying to get out into the world, right? The huge part of that is, what's the message, right? What is the message? Are you going to deliver through a person? Your product or service is just secondary. Get into the mindset of the market. This is psychology. Do your research. What is this person thinking about? Determine reasons the world will care about this message. You've got a message, you want to put it in front of a certain group of people. Why are they going to care about it? Decide how this message should be presented. Allow yourself to be creative, do the work, launch the campaigns, analyze the results. This is our biggest learning step. Iterate, collaborate, and always keep the ball moving forward. This is about as step by step as I can really think of in terms of what I do every day, especially in my brain, and how I get my media buyer self going and really setting up campaigns, scaling campaigns, and working on projects. So it's time to start thinking like a media buyer. And guys, I can't wait to see the transformations that happen over the next 12 weeks with you guys. I'm so excited about this. And I'm about to give you a little bit of homework. Again, I'm here to answer questions. I know that this was a lot about mindset. I hope I didn't bore you guys, but I knew I had to cover this because the tactical stuff really doesn't matter if you don't understand this. So if you have time again, re-listen to this week, guys. Please really let this sink in, because if you understand this part, the rest of this program is going to be a lot easier. It's what I wish I would have done before I really started learning, and I still learn every day and still use this process to make sure I'm at my best. So your all's homework. This is exciting. I feel like a teacher. A lot of this is a recap of what I told you guys earlier, but please write it down. Log into the members area, get situated. All the recordings will be in there. Join the secret Facebook group from the members area. There's an area in the members area that says community or Facebook group. Join from that link. Join the group, we'll get you approved. Please say hi, introduce yourself, tell us why you're here. You can put any more personal information you want to share in the type form, but please introduce yourself to the group because it's important to build the relationship with me and me to you, but I also want you guys to meet each other. Please fill out the type form. This is really going to help me get to know you guys better and make the course really special to where you guys are. Put all of the calls on your calendar. So again, if you haven't received an email, there will be an email going out with your login information. Make sure that you just write down all of the, or put all of the calls in whatever calendar you use so that you show up. Decide, that's a typo, decide on what brand or business you want to focus on throughout these 12 weeks, whether it's yours, a client's. Again, these strategies will work across all businesses, but I really want you guys to focus on a brand so that you can follow along with this over-the-shoulder experience that we're going to be having. Once you select that, quickly audit. This is nothing formal. It doesn't need to be in a special doc. I just want you to quickly audit the status of that brand's traffic system, right? Whether you're already running traffic for them, or whether you're thinking about it, or whether you're brand new to it. I just want you to quickly go in and ask yourself, what traffic platforms are they running traffic to? What offers are they running traffic to, right? How well is this working? I just want you to get familiar, get into the, pick the brand, and then quickly audit and get familiar with their traffic system. Then get a feel for where you want to take things, right? What are the goals? Our goal is for you to have a profitable traffic system for this brand by the end of the 12 weeks. What does that specifically mean from you? What does your boss want, and how can you tie that in to your goals, right? What is your client needing? What does your business need? Really get a feel, start to set some intentions for where you want to take things. And then last thing, but most important, I want you to take yourself through this 8 steps that I talked about, but actually this is a typo. I want you to take yourself through the first 5 steps, because 6 is launch. But I want you to just quickly take yourself through those 5 steps of thinking like a media buyer for at least 15 minutes a day, right? You can go through and answer those questions to yourself really quick. You can either do this for your focus brand that you've chosen, or to make it even more fun and to really get your brain firing, you could pick brands that you admire or competitors. You don't even have to really know much about the brand other than what they sell and maybe some ads that they run. But this will really help your mind start to think this way, guys. If for 15 minutes a day, you just sit down by yourself, you go through those 5 steps to thinking like a media buyer for your business or other businesses, but please try to do that every day. Again, this is like learning a hobby. This is like learning a new language. It's like learning to ride a bike. I just need you guys to practice, and I'll be doing it too. So this is your homework. Hopefully it's not too much, guys. Just make sure, please try to complete it by next Wednesday. Of course, we'll have a call on Monday for any questions that you guys might have. If you guys on that call, great things to bring is, hey, Molly, here's a quick roundup of what I'm doing right now. Here's where I'm trying to go. Here's what I've discovered through going through this 5-step exercise. So maybe you guys just bring your 5 steps to thinking like a media buyer, the answers to those questions. If you bring those to the call on Monday, I can quickly go through those and say, oh, I don't know if that message is strong enough. I don't know, if you're right on about the market, but I'm happy to audit those and make this a group discussion. And of course, guys, join the Facebook group. I want to talk to you guys in there also. So this is the homework. That's all I have today, guys. Happy to stick around and answer questions. Again, every week moving forward is going to be very tactical, but I just wanted to get started. Thank you all for hanging on here too. You guys are all still on here at the end. So that's really, really fun. So how long will videos be available to rewatch? They will be available for pretty much ever, Angela. They will not disappear. You guys have lifetime access to this. So there you go. Someone says meditation is key. Doug just moved from Northern Kentucky. Go Cats. John says, am I correct to say that this job will typically be rolled into a paid media job? I mean, this is a paid media job, really, John. This person could also be called a customer acquisition specialist, but I think it's so much more than that. I've always called it your traffic person, but I'm saying digital media buyer now because I think it sounds a little better. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Artyom says meditation is key, so true. Teresa says fear of failure is definitely big. Meryl loves Gabby Bernstein too. Someone asked me to repeat her name, Gabby Bernstein. She's great for mindset stuff. The name of the author of Big Magic was Elizabeth Gilbert. Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote Big Magic. So Manny had to jump off. See you next time, Manny. Glad you enjoyed it. Teresa says, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Such a big problem many of us have. So, so true. Someone asked if the Facebook group will continue past the 12 weeks. Yes, I'll still be there for you guys. Oh, thanks for sharing these steps. So much gold. Glad you're on here, Ash. Thank you, Sue. The replay will be up soon. Ezra's team's handling that. So I'm thinking, I don't know exactly. I would assume definitely in the next 24 hours, but we'll let you guys know. Okay, cool. Derek says great stuff. Thank you guys. Looking forward to meet the team and other students. All right, great first call. Thanks, guys. All right, so we have a question from Ronnie. We're launching a consulting company for startup entrepreneurs. We filmed a month's worth of content, scheduled it out, and are hashing out how to market it on Facebook. Our goal is to build an audience for our November launch. They are a mixture of videos, quote cards, and blog posts. What is the ideal way to create our initial audience to go after? What campaign metric do we go for? Really good question. I love that you have content. I would pick 2 or 3 of those videos or quote cards or blog posts that you feel are most attractive to the market, right? It really aligns with your message. There are reasons that the market wants to consume that video, quote card, or blog post. I would pick 2 or 3, or you're going to overwhelm them. And then for the next few months, what I would do is I would definitely run Facebook ads with the video views campaign for the video. Make sure your targeting is really specific, and start to run that video ad to that market so that you're building that retargeting audience that you can then retarget later in time. So same thing with the postcard and the blog post. If they click on the ad or even like the ad or comment or go to your site, of course you can retarget them at all times. So Ronnie, the biggest key is what pieces of content do you have that the market is interested in, but also that relates to the launch that you're going to do, right? Because if your content's talking about hiring employees and then your launch is all about how to create a new product for your business, that's just, it doesn't make sense, right? The people that watched the video were interested in that other topic. So make sure it's seamless in terms of the topics between your content and your launch, but I hope that helps. Awesome. So very excited. Thanks, guys. So glad you're having fun. The name of the bathing suit company, Fused Hawaii. I'm sending it to everyone. FUSED HAWAII. Do I think a company needs to be posting multiple times a day on Facebook for more organic reach? If you have the resources to, it won't hurt, but I definitely don't think it's necessary. Paid, you can just pull such a bigger lever with it. But I would make sure that you're posting at least every few days, because when you're running Facebook ads, a lot of people that will see your brand for the first time will actually click on the ad and go over to your page. So you want to look like your page is active and real. So cool. Oh, thanks. Ronnie says, I love your take on this industry. I appreciate it. I mean, honestly, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do this, guys, was to teach stuff like I taught today. So I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it. This makes me feel good. So I think we've answered. Okay, Sue says, what's a good resource to get some blogs for a brand if they don't have much that are relevant? Sue, do you mean like blog posts that they can post, or like, give me a little more context there if you don't mind. April says, sorry I joined late. No worries, dear. These are recorded, so you guys can always come back. She says, can't wait to see my progress over the next 12 weeks. Same thing. Back to all of you guys. So I'm going to give it another second, see if some more questions hop in, guys. But this has been really fun. I'm so glad you all responded well to this. And yeah, next week we're going to get into funnels with Ezra and offers. And what you guys will leave with next week is an exact idea of what your funnels should be looking like, whether you have funnels now, whether you don't, and really how those funnels play into your paid traffic system. So next week's going to be great. Even if you have high performing funnels, please do not miss this session, because this is kind of like the egg before the chicken thing. We got to talk about your funnels and offer before we get into everything else. Meryl says, thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear. How many hours a week does this position require to manage? Really good question. It totally depends on the company, right? If you're managing $100 a week in ad spend for a local business, that's probably only going to require an hour or two a week after you go through this course to continue to manage that spend. If you're spending $1 million a month and selling 15 different products, that's going to require a lot more time. So it's really hard to say, Ronnie. It all depends on the needs of the business. But I'm always happy to help you guys figure out, how much time you should be spending on something, and how to prioritize if that's a question or a thing that I can help you guys with. So, alrighty, guys. Looks like this is a perfect time to stop. This was so much fun for the first session. We will be back at this same time on Monday. Please do the exercise going through the first 5 steps of thinking like a media buyer for the focus brand that you're choosing to focus on through the next 12 weeks. And let's get some brainstorming going. I want to help you guys specific with your businesses and what you're doing. So appreciate you guys so much. This recording will be up in the members area. If you have any troubles logging in, please reach out to support at smartmarketer.com. And can't wait. Also, please do your homework and fill out the type form so that I can get to know you guys better. So appreciate you all. And yeah, until we talk next Monday or in the Facebook group. Bye-bye.